Hey, can we got Ryan Phillips up here? Ron, can you hear me? I think Ryan's
Hear
coming in
you.
right now. Hey, how's it going? Charleston's
Man,
over
it's
here
good,
speaking
man.
Serbian.
Oh my gosh. You really I just can't. I can't believe he really knows really any words. I don't believe that.
He's really speaking Serbian. But I just want to introduce Ryan Phillips from Eastern Washington, five-time West All-Star, four-time CFL All-Star, holds some BC records for most return yards in a career and a season. Has 12 interceptions in a season. That's the most. 6 defensive touchdowns and most return interception touchdowns at 5 in a career. 47 career interceptions. Welcome to the show, Ryan Phillips. It's been like a Hall of Fame stacked event today.
How you do all those stats?
Darian threw him the ball a lot.
Man,
And I seen him talking about it when we were in Montreal together. I seen him and Darian in the back talking. I always said if we want to win a game, put Ryan Phillips in, and he gonna complete the ball to Ryan. Play offense.
that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Nah, man, I had a good defensive line, man. I had a good defensive coordinator, but other than that, man, when you get an opportunity to make some plays, man, you gotta make plays. So it's pretty much that simple.
How was it transitioning from being a great player on the field to a coach this past season?
I mean, it was great, man. When you surround yourself with guys that, are all on the same page as far as trying to put yourself in position to win games, was definitely huge. I think we had a good nucleus of guys in the room, and then we had some additions later on in the season that I think helped us get to where we wanted to be. It would have been great to get those guys, a little bit sooner. But even then, though, I think everybody got an example of what we could have been in the later part of the season. So it was great transitioning just to get, an opportunity to see the other side of things and be able to, be on the coaching side where you're dealing with personnel and game planning and some other things that you didn't think about, as a player all the time. The work that got put in towards those things. So, I mean, it was a great transition for me. It was definitely everything I expected and more. And hopefully, I continue to have that opportunity, when the job comes along.
So you had the ability to coach. You were fortunate enough to coach two guys from your area, Aaron Grimes and TJ Lee. Can you talk about kind of the friendship and you knowing them before your coaching and then being able to go out there and coach them every day? And both of them played outstanding this year and got better as the year went on.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I kind of teased them about before the season started was, don't take our personal relationship, out to the field. You got to kind of cut that fine line. I've known those guys for a long period of time, so you got to make that fine line. But it makes it a lot easier when you have professionals, and those guys are true professionals. They take their job seriously. They want to perfect their craft. So we didn't have any discrepancies or anything like that when it came to when it's time to work. So, I mean, it was great for me to be able to have veteran guys like that, guys that have been successful. Aaron's been able to win a Grey Cup. TJ's been able to be, an all-star and things like that. So to have leadership in a room like that, guys that I can rely on, that I trust, and I trust going to put their best foot forward, makes it easier for me to concentrate on maybe the younger guys or some other guys that might need to be molded a little bit differently, coached a little bit differently, even have to spend more time with them a little bit more in tune to whatever it is we're trying to get out of them. So I was more fortunate to have them guys than maybe they, were more fortunate to have me, to be honest. I think they made my transition a lot more smoother. And, at the end of the day, hopefully I got the best out of them and they definitely got the best out of me.
You look like you're taking selfies right now while we were taking a break.
I'm about to say, and I don't like it at all.
One thing I want to talk about, inside the walls this year in BC, we heard a lot of stuff going on outside the walls, and they talked about young coaches and being inexperienced and being some of the reason for some of our non-success. Can you touch on that? Because I know that, for me, there were things that I wanted to say, but can you touch on that, and then I'll reiterate or whatever you need. And
I mean, I think there's a big misconception when it comes to experience as far as being able to get guys in tune to be able to get their best performance out. I think every player needs to be coached in their own in particular way to get the best performance out of the player. And that's not necessarily based on experience or based on anything else outside of that. You have to find ways to reach that player and ways for him to understand game plan and understand the expectation and the standard that you want to set as a team. So I don't think that comes with experience. I think that just comes with whether you're getting the most out of that player or not. And sometimes, guys that, overachieved or underachieved, and that comes down to it. And, I've been on teams where, we've had more veteran guys and things like that. And, you didn't really have to coach as much because you had a great nucleus of guys that already knew what the expectation was and the standard was. When you're dealing with a younger group, there's a lot of things that have to take place for you to get the best performance out. And sometimes guys, pan out and they don't. And that's just kind of what it really boils down to. And when you're relying on maybe some other guys that are veteran guys that you expect, maybe to carry the team or do some other things, and you don't get that out of them, then that also, plays a precedent. So one thing that Wally always told me was, he just prepares you for that, but he can't play for you and he can't play the game. And, that's something that I definitely had to, take into account this year, just due to the fact that, you feel like you're preparing players to play, to put the best performance out there. But when it comes in between the lines, things still have to be executed at a high level. And, for us that were in between the walls, we know how we were preparing, the hours that we put in, how we were trying to put guys in position to make plays and be successful. And all the time it didn't come out to our end or come out to our benefit. So, that happens regardless if you're the 20-year coach or whether if you're the first-year coach. Guys win and lose, and sometimes you have to go through growing pains to be able to, make things come out in your favor. And right now at this point, this year we didn't get that end of the stick a lot of the times. And towards the end of the year, I think we're building towards that. And hopefully, like I said, we all get the same opportunity again and be able to expand upon that.
That's a great answer. I don't know if I have anything more to say than that. That's pretty great. You do get it. And I mean, I can understand that being one way. I talked to Kevin Glenn about this, and, we put so many years around the game. We've all coached other guys while we've been there. Me being in Calgary, being able to communicate with the young Eric Rogers and Kamar Jordan and those guys, and having Cope and Rambo communicate with me when I was young. And we've all been in that position to where we actually help each other so much and explain things to each other. What do you feel like prepared you most, your playing career prepared you most for your coaching career last year?
Honestly, like just what you touched on. I had guys like Baron Miles and Mark Washington when I first came in, and all those guys are premier coaches now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Mark Washington is a defensive coordinator who's one of the top defensive coordinators in the league, and also getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. Baron Miles is one of the best positional coaches and one of the best players that played this game, and from the secondary standpoint, who should be, a defensive coordinator somewhere right now. So those guys molded me and kind of taught me what it was to be a professional first and foremost. I think that's something that, gets taken for granted. Guys don't take serious all the time. Those guys were perfect examples of what it took, to be professional and also be able to balance work life and home life. They definitely, showed me examples of how to do that, but then also to the same extent how to take on a group. When you're coaching, you're still taking on a group. You're taking on a group of men, and it's different than coaching, kids and so forth. But you're taking on men, you're taking on egos, you're taking on personalities, things like that. And they were the leader of our group when I came in as a rookie. So they were already coaching as it was. So when they left, it was my opportunity to do that same thing. So those guys like TJ Lee that I also played with that was younger, that was things that I wanted to teach him. So then that way, so now that he has this opportunity, I don't have to do as much as a coach as far as like grooming him per se, but I can focus on other areas that might need a little bit more attention. So, I mean, those guys honestly molded me to be the coach that I am now, and I'm still growing in that area, and I'm still growing as far as even, talking to those guys because they're still growing as well. I think the game evolves so much and players evolve so much that you still have to adapt to the times, and the times could change at any moment. So, that's where, to me, experience kind of goes, maybe left field to some degree, because you can have a 20-year experience, but you're not adapting to the times. And at that point, you're kind of stuck in a gray area. So you got to be able to adapt to the players and adapt to the times of the game. And I feel like that's something that, so I could be able to do to a high level.
I appreciate that. Hey, this is really the overtime. We're going to go over a little bit because we got some things we need to discuss. You brought up a great point. Chris, who do you think is the most influential player you ever played with that made an influence on you? And what was your favorite coach, or who was your favorite coach?
Oh, wow. That's a
on the
bag
spot
right there.
On the spot right
on
now.
On the spot. Honestly, I mean, a couple guys had some good tips for me when I came into the league. Dominguez and Flick. I mean, they were around right at the very start.
DJ.
But I mean, to be honest, I think that our core group that kind of all came in the same time. We were touching on it earlier. Fantuz and Begg, Dressler. I think that us kind of together, we were able to mold kind of each other. We all gave each other tidbits of information that we had obviously received from other people or seen out on the field. We all put in the work to really study the opponent and who we were going against. So I think our communication on a week-to-week basis with each other definitely helped propel my career. When it comes to coaching, I mean, I've had several good coaches over the years. I can't really speak badly about any individual coach or anything. So
I can, but I'm not.
Okay, cool. Ken Miller, I'm a big fan of Ken Miller and how he brought it. I mean, he had a great offensive mind, and I think that he was way more likely to ask you about, hey, like, how was your weekend? How's your family? And, I think guys took to that. It makes you want to play for a guy like that.
Yeah, it got real personal with you.
Yeah.
Charleston?
Ooh, it was tough on us because when I first came into Calgary as a rookie in 2008, we all came in fresh.
Oh, you was looking up to me?
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It was a whole new staff. It was a whole new team. Like, it was fresh from the start. So everybody was rookies. And the first thing they told us in meetings were every position's open. So the best player is going to play. The best player is going to be on the field. So I had to figure it out. In the middle of camp, I moved from linebacker to defensive line. So I really had to figure it out and watch film and try to figure out how to pass rush, who's the best pass rusher in the league right now. So I kind of looked at I think his name was Flemings. I watched Flemings.
Joe Fleming.
Yeah, I watched Flemings. I watched Cam Wake. I watched all the guys that were the top pass rushers in the league and said, okay, I have to find a way to be exactly like these guys or find their best moves and use it on the field. So I took all the best moves from all those guys and applied it to my game and ended up working out.
That's awesome. Coach?
For coach, I would say Chris Jones, really. He was the one who, I wasn't one of his guys initially, but he was one of the guys who said, look, the best guy's going to play. I know you're good. I know you can play, but if you ever fall off in a game or if you ever have a span of about 2 or 3 games where you don't play good, he was like, I'm going to get rid of you and I'm going to find somebody to replace you. And when a coach keep it real with you like that, it's like, man, I gotta be on my A game at all times because I don't want to get replaced. I don't want to go home. So when he light a fire under your, you gotta play some football now. And once he approached me and hit me with that ultimatum and said, hey, you got to play or you going home, I got to play. I'm in the fire from start to finish.
That's it, man. I appreciate Ryan Phillips for joining us. Thanks for coming on, brother. You got any last words for us?
Man, just good luck to everybody, man. I appreciate being on the show. Man, I'm actually surprised they let you take it over out of all people. But, I'm going to make sure, that the guys that, have an opportunity, man, to coach and be able to play, man, take your career seriously. It's short span, man. Obviously, the guys there, man, they kind of beat the odds, obviously, from that standpoint because, those guys have played a lot of years and a lot of football and have been very successful and won Grey Cups. But we all know, man, it's still short-lived. So, be able to take it, every day and every memory, man, all the way seriously and, don't take it for granted. And, at the same extent, man, continue to build relationships, man. They go a long way.
Long way. Well, appreciate you for joining in.
Is that new Bentley truck you in right now?
No, we ain't going to put that out there. We're not going to put that out there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so, I'll just touch on mine real quick. I'm pretty open about my most influential person was Jermaine Copeland. Coming into the locker room in 2005, after my rookie year, I remember Jim Barker told my agent, we're trying to work out a new deal, and he was like, well, we don't know if he's going to make the team. We got Kenyon Rambo coming in, Marte Jenkins, and Jermaine Copeland, and we have all these guys coming in, and we don't know if he's good enough to make the team. And I made the team, and I remember in training camp, Cope told me, he said, "Man, part of the reason I came here is because of you." And he's like, "We're gonna be like Batman and Robin, and we're gonna run this thing." And I was like, "Let's go." He taught me how to be a professional. He taught me how to. He was like, "You don't want to be the guy that's going to be really good and bounce around from team to team and go from every team in this league because you're really good, but nobody can deal with the attitude and everything else." So it was a growing up maturity thing because my rookie year, I mean, I wouldn't say we had great leadership. We had great players. And that's one of the things is once we found that true leadership and Cope, then I think that turned the corner. And I always talk about Huff because Huff taught preparation. And it's just like life. When you're prepared, you can do anything. You just got to prepare yourself. It'll cure all nerves, all everything. I seen the guys yesterday joking around, talking about me playing this cool and coming up here and doing this today. And one of the things is I'm always going to prepare myself. Right, I'm going to prepare myself because I know how to be successful, and I appreciate these guys for letting me be here. We'll talk about one last thing. What do you got going on in this offseason? Or not? It's not your offseason anymore. It's your job now.
Yeah, the offseason.
It's just like one of my
really long now.
Yeah, it's like one of my friends. He was like, "I'm babysitting." I'm like, "No, that's your son. You are a father."
You are a father. Yeah.
So what do you got going on now, Chris?
I'm a financial advisor. Work with CG Wealth Management with Investment Planning Council as our dealer. But I've been doing it for 11 years already. You know, I was one of those guys that in the locker room every single year I would preach, "Hey, what do you do in the off season?" "Oh, I just train." I'm like, "You should get a job."
Yeah.
Because you don't know when this game's going to be taken away from you. So I was preparing for after football within 2 years of being in the league because you never know how long it's going to be. And I was blessed to be able to play 11 years, and it helped with the transition, already having that job set up for afterwards.
Did you ever have a celebration?
I mean, I didn't do a lot. I mean, I did a couple different celebrations. I wouldn't say anything that really stuck. It was always in the moment, scoring a touchdown. There's not much like that adrenaline rush that you get for that.
I just remember the hands in the air running to the back of the end zones, both hands up.
Yeah, well, you got to see it a few times. I'd say I scored the bulk of my touchdowns against Calgary. So,
whoa!
I scored my first.
Well, that's true.
I scored my first touchdown in Sask at Old Mosaic. And do you know what my celebration was? The Ric Flair off the goalpost. Caught an out route, ran to the goalpost, hit it, came off of it, did my Ric Flair and my little woo.
I like that.
Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Way before there was give me a Ric Flair and 2 claps.
Yeah.
Tell us what you got going on this offseason.
Well, I'm just rehabbing right now, just trying to get my arm together. I just had surgery on Monday, so really trying to get back in the groove, get my arm back, get back to lifting weights, try to get back to working out. Doing a lot of stuff with football right now. Got some special news coming up pretty soon.
Anything you want to give up today?
Well, I'm starting a football league for the youth, for high school kids, transitioning into college football. So I'm gonna help out with a lot of kids throughout all of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, really, and try to bring football to the smaller communities that caters to the 6-man, 7-man, 8-man, 9-man football, all the little communities that can't have, football teams or play against competitive football leagues. So I'm going to start a league where all these schools that have 12-man and 11-man football that can compete against schools that have 6, 7, and 8-man football.
Man, that's awesome. If you need any help from me, just let me know. I'm around. I'm around here. A lot of guys always ask me, like, what am I doing here? My wife's from here, my family's here, and I've enjoyed being here lately, just because it is a close community and things, and to see it from this side of things is pretty cool. Charleston, you live here in the off season now, and Getty obviously lives here, and he's done some great things. I'm pretty sure you're still probably in the community. People ask you to do stuff all the time. I appreciate you for coming by. One of the things for me is I really appreciate Rod for allowing me to do this show, man. This is awesome that for the crew to come in, allow me the opportunity to host this show. I'm building my own podcast for the new year. I'm going to do 2 different versions. One's going to be on life coaching, leadership, and health, and the other one's going to be on sports. So stay tuned for that. I'll have a website soon and everything. So that's what I'm doing, build for the off season, and hopefully I'm on the sideline somewhere. I see somebody asked earlier what am I going to be doing. Hopefully I'm on the sideline somewhere. I've reached out to some teams and I've talked to them and stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'm passionate about it, just like Joaquin, Bradley. And one of the things when you invest in people and when you see them do well, there's no better gratification. When I won the Grey Cup in 2008, like you said, we were young. And it was a totally different feeling. I went out, I balled, I had 122 yards, something like that. And it was like I was one of the best players on the team and we won the Grey Cup. And in 2014, I was still coming off the injury. I was hurt. I was older. And it was a more mental approach, how to help everybody else around me do what they do. So it's 2 different feelings, right? So once you're helping other people, man, it is great. I remember, I don't know if you see me running down the sidelines, jumping up with Rudd after the fake punt or when he runs back to touchdown. Other coaches was be like, Sean White, he was like, man, we're watching a special teams video and you're running down the sideline with Rudd. I'm like, I'm so passionate and I invest in young men and these people. And so, man, I've had a blast. I hope you had a blast. I want to thank all of our sponsors: Prairie Mobile Text Line, Daily Pole Capital Auto Mall, Bronco Plumbing and Heating Grant, Deer Valley Golf Club, and just thank the sponsors, man, for allowing this to happen. Thanks, Rod Pedersen. Thank you to all the guests, man. It was great. For Damon Allen, John Bowman, Chris Getzlaff, Joaquin Bradley, Ryan Phillips, everyone to come in, Kelly Rimple. We had a great 2 hours. It goes really fast. In the famous words of Garth Brooks, when we're free to love anyone we choose, when the world is big enough for all different views, when we all can worship from our own kind of pew, then we shall be free. Stay classy, Regina, and stay golden, Pony Boy. We out.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.